So we had a lot of discussion around this at our executive session with the board, and this is something that we care a lot about. We feel like it's important that, I made the statement earlier, that it is important that we have supportive, engaging work environments, that, that we have leadership that engages in that and prioritizes the engagement of our staff, satisfaction of our staff. However, we're hesitant to approach it in the way that's been proposed in the language. We don't feel like creating a bad boy list, if you will, of engagement offenders is the right way to go in this circumstance. We feel like the more appropriate way to manage this would be to create a way to assess and measure the level of engagement and satisfaction, if you will, for schools across the district. It's specifically for employees, right? What does that look like? We certainly don't know at this point in time. So we're not willing to memorialize that within the contract. But what we are willing to do is to commit to creating an assessment and to looking at that assessment and sort of building off of it. Okay. Also, we think that the emphasis should be on rewarding and celebrating, if you will, recognizing those schools that have really, really great workplace culture, that really focus on the whole employee relations deal, because we feel like that's going to be the more effective way to approach this from a buy-in perspective, right? Because if we ultimately go back and say, okay, you're in trouble because your folks are not engaged enough or satisfied enough, you're not going to have people that are all in to try and improve things, right? So we want to really focus on the positive aspects of culture, rewarding the positive aspects of culture, and not creating a list that's going to quite honestly offend some people and feel like they're not going to be bought into the idea. So we want to just focus on the positive. And we think it's a good idea. We think it's a really good idea to measure this, take actions to improve it.
So if the districts can focus on the positive and ratings come back that are negative, then what is the district doing, focusing only on the positive? And how does that get addressed then? Because it's not nowhere in our language does it say create a bad boy list. And I'm just not sure how
Climate intervention school designation.
Yeah.
That tells me that if you're a climate intervention school designation, that's what that.
Well, when 60% of the staff, which we've had at schools at times, are dissatisfied because of the culture and climate, then what is the district's way of dealing with that?
I think that we've stated that we plan to assess and take action.
So you'll make your own bad boy list.
I didn't say that either. What I'm saying is that, so I think that action planning involves, when you take action, you look at, what the assessment tells you. You evaluate the results, and you put measures in place to try and incrementally improve engagement.
That's exactly what I said, but you called it a bad boy list.
No, what I'm calling it, when you say, that's the impression that people get. When you say the climate intervention school, that's the impression people get.
So my question is,
not just for
who's the impression? Is it of the leaders of those places where maybe there's negative feedback, or what's the?
I'll let you make those interpretations, Scott.
Well, you're the one talking to them. That's why I asked you. So don't we learn from negative feedback? Meaning that if you take an assessment and you don't do well on it, then that's when corrective action as a teacher and reflection goes into it to improve upon a situation. So
what I don't understand is when I say that we will look at the outcome, the results
Mhm.
of the assessment.
Right.
And that we will action plan so that we're able to promote incremental improvement. That's what I said.
You
That's
have,
exactly what
I
you're
know.
talking about.
you have to understand how everyone else is hearing this. What they're hearing is the district doesn't want to know where maybe some hot spots are.
That's not true.
I know that's not true because I've worked with you guys on these things, but the way that it's presented as a bad boy list and the intent of LCTA and the employees of this district is to catch people. That's not
So
what
the-
this
the-
intent is.
The closest analogy would be to our differentiated accountability schools, where it's like, okay, now we're gonna go in and do all these different things because they have the lower scores. That's not the impression that we're wanting to create in this situation. We want to improve engagement. We want to improve that supportive, positive environment, period. We also want to focus on the positive recognition aspects as opposed to those individuals that are below 30% or whatever it is that whatever your threshold is.
Two things, we'll move on. One thing, does that mean when you find the positive things, you're going to develop a best practices kind of portfolio and sites will then implement those best
That's a great idea.
practices? That would be one piece. The second thing is when it comes to only doing it annually, the reason why progress monitoring is in place is so that you don't wait until the big assessment and then find out that there are gaps. So by doing it just annually, that would be something that I would think the district would like to know as well. So that's why we were not just on an annual basis. I wanted to give our rationale.
And I think that obviously this would be a new process. Right now, we do a climate survey that addresses everyone, not just employees. So we would start with this process and then expand it as we saw fit. And if at some point in time we felt like we had a best practice, a one best way to do this, we might not be adverse to putting it into contract language. But at this point in time, because we don't know what our best practice could be or should be or will be, we're not willing to memorialize it in contract language.
Right. Well, I just know that there are a bunch of A and B schools for the past 5 years recognized just this past Tuesday at the school board where Kim McFarland was talked about how wonderful she does. But the question would be, are her practices replicated around the district then? And if not, then why not?
That's a good question.